A Confederate statue in North Carolina will remain after the state appeals court rejected the NAACP's argument to remove it.
The organization filed a lawsuit in 2021 arguing the rebel soldiers' statue in Alamance County should be relocated to a historically appropriate location. The group also argued the monument was a threat to public safety, was a misuse of taxpayer dollars, and violated the state constitution. But the appeals court ruled the monument is protected by the Monuments Protection Law that the General Assembly passed in 2015. Chief Legal Analyst Colleen Rhodes joins us now, and the push to remove that statue came really at a time when hundreds of Confederate symbols were taken down across the country.
You got to remember between 2010 and 2020, the actions that were taken during that decade probably shaped the landscape for our current generation more than anything else. President Obama was gearing up for his second term. Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin, all were killed at the hands of police. Black Lives Matters were picking up
Floyd.
at 1,000%. And so the far right could probably say that's the birthplace of the woke movement. African Americans were not just asking for changes, they were asking and demanding it. And part of the demand was remove these Confederate statues across the country. North Carolina quickly reacts and says in 2015, oh wait, they're attempting to make our statutes move. Let's do something about it. And they come out with this law that says, listen, this monument protection law, that we have to find a way to protect it. And the only way you can remove these objects of remembrance is by basically jumping through a million different hurdles. Not only do you have to do that to remove it permanently, you have to do a number of hurdles to remove it temporarily, removing it and putting it in a place that's likely situated to where it was already sitting. And so the high standard to removing a statue, you can point back to 2010 and throughout that whole decade for why and how we are now, how these monuments are not being moved in a number of places now.
So people feel drastically different on both sides of this argument, because some people feel like you are tearing down history. But in this case, in this ruling, did this judge get it right?
Well, I in terms of getting it right, and then I can say, let me make sure I quantify my answer. I think the judges, this 3-panel judge, they did the right thing in terms of what the statute says. They were 100%. That's why they were unanimous. The statute is crystal clear in the manner in which you can or cannot remove a statute. And when I looked at the opinion, it says that the county commissioners got it right because they didn't have the authority to remove it. However, I would say that I think the litigants, the NAACP, and other individuals that brought this claim just sued in the wrong manner. You need to challenge the actual statute from 2015 and say, is that a violation of the Constitution? Because I think that's where the argument lies, is that that law is in violation. It is creating the undue and unfair disadvantage to African Americans across the state. And that's where the challenge should have been addressed. And I think it's still room for them to fix it, but they haven't.
Yeah, it's a very good point, though, to be able to bring that, because it matters on how you do your litigation in terms of what you're setting as your precedent for your argument.
They definitely selected the wrong avenue. And I mean, it was dead on arrival in terms of what the letter says. 2015 law, they were clearly doing everything they were supposed to do in that county to ensure that they were within the law. But the statute has flaws, fundamental flaws that do not align with the Constitution. And for that reason, they could challenge it. Now, will our Supreme Court address it? Different conversation for another day.
Well, that could come back here locally, because we've seen it play out in Gaston County, where it's brought up time and time again, and it's stuck in this stalemate of not being able to do anything.
And if I can quickly say, even if those counties attempt to do that, I think the statute would say they don't have the jurisdiction or the right to do that. The governor has an opportunity to do that. If there is a danger, to property or people, the governor can tear it down. Remember what happened in North Carolina? Right. They went up there, they started tearing it down, and then he had it removed. And so there is an avenue to have it removed. I just don't think that was the method.
All right, Colleen Rhodes, appreciate your insight always.